to identify a red flag, because they come. Sometimes they're pink, sometimes they're maroon, you know.
Sometimes it's a handkerchief.
Sometimes it's just, yeah, the red flags, different shades. Sometimes you like the color red. As in, these things creep up on us. But it would be a great injustice if you were not able to identify it and you thought, that's just the way life is. Listen, people who actually want to be with you will show you that they want to be with you. So I feel like sometimes it's also a red flag on our part when we try to explain away the small disrespect, the small microaggressions, the small things we try to explain away. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe that's also a red flag. But before that, how do you identify a red flag in a relationship? And at the top of the list, you have heard this term a lot, especially on the internet, if you're like a TikTok psychiatrist, love bombing. If those beginning stages, you've only known each other for 2 weeks and they're declaring their undying love for you, love bombing is dangerous. And the thing is, I actually saw somebody say, I don't understand love bombing because I kind of understand why you'd be in love with me, because I'm an awesome person, but nobody falls in love with you in 2 weeks. You know, somebody who's serious about you and genuinely wants to know you will take their time. You take your time to know each other. You get to see them in their happy element, in their sad era. You know, you get to see all of them before you actually decide, I'm actually very in love with this person. I'm in love with everything that they are. But 2 weeks in, I love you, you're my life, I can't breathe. Where are you? Let me come and see you. I'm suffocating. That's not cute. It's obsessive.
Yep. Another thing you need to be looking out for is pace, pace, pace. Where are you running to? If I am the love of your life, is your life ending tomorrow? Why are we running to get to the end of the life? Do you know what I mean? Like in the story of Risa Tisa, y'all, we keep mentioning this girl because it's been a crazy story with Legion. You need to be checking it out on TikTok. Anyway, with Risa, yes, let's assume that COVID was a big issue in their relationship, right? Because they met in March, and then 2 weeks after they met, the government of Georgia decided that it was time for us to lock down, and everything was going to be closed, and people needed to be indoors. Like there was no moving outside, right? So unfortunately for her, that small issue caused things to be moving a little bit too fast. But at the same time, baby girl met this man in March. April, they've already moved in. Not to his house. No. To her house, because he lived in a studio apartment and he was about to it was a transitional home. So basically, because he lived in this small house, they decided, let's stay in my house as we look for a new house. Baby girl was pregnant in June. Yeah? Pregnant and engaged by June. Like, you see how quickly that is moving. I mean, yes, we are in love, but baby boy, why are we getting married in 2 days? Like, I don't even know your people. At this point, she doesn't know anyone. She only hears of these pretend phone calls in the living room. Like, how quickly are you guys moving? The faster you're moving, you need to be putting out your radar, because guess what? A red flag is coming.
And also, how do they treat you in public versus how do they treat you when you guys are at home? They could be the most loving, the most gentle, the most I'll take care of you person in front of other people. Everyone's doing it to us. You have such a nice husband. Oh, you're so lucky. But the minute you get home, they just like switch up and they're this monster that you did not know even existed. So if you find such contrasting personalities, please, it is your time to run away. Or it could be the opposite. In front of other people, they even like go out of their way to make jokes about you, to point out your insecurities, to do all of these things to make you feel shameful and embarrassed. But at home, they're the most loving, I will take care of you, I love you person ever. And you're just wondering, what triggers that change? Why do you feel the need to treat me differently in front of other people versus treating me differently privately? If there's a contrast, they don't treat you the same all the time, that's a huge red flag.
Through and through, yeah. I think it's not even like all the time necessarily. It's just like there's no consistency. There's such a disparity in the two personalities. Another one I think in general is a bicycler. You know that guy you meet, and then suddenly, when they meet your friends, or when you talk about your friends, they're like, maybe I've never even liked that shorty. She sounds hella ghetto. She sounds hella ratchet. You probably shouldn't be hanging out with her. You talk about your parents, and they're like, yeah, baby, me, if I were you, honestly, I would go no contact with my parents. If they did that to me, I would never talk to them again. If your brother is trying to, come over to your house, it's always like, why does he have to come here? Why can't he get another place to be at? Basically, every time you speak about someone that you love, they're always trying to talk smack about them, to like sort of make you stay away from them, so that you're no longer associating much with people. They're trying to limit your access to other people and vice versa. So you're always like, the only person you're depending on, you're talking to, you're constantly with, is just them. They are your alpha and omega. They are the rock of foundation, and still they are the roof. Like it can't be one person. You have to have variety. Like everyone has to have a life outside of their lover. And unfortunately, if you are isolated, who are you going to tell when things start going bad? Nobody.
Exactly.
Red flag.
And this is the thing that usually actually irritates my soul. Boy meets girl, or boy meets a baddie. And by baddie, I mean, you know what a baddie is. Fine girl, no pimples, wears what she wants, looks good. And then this person sees this girl as who she is, as who she presents as. She's living her best life. And then comes into her life and decides he wants to change everything about her that makes her happy with herself. Oh, I don't like the way you dress. Acha kuvaa nguo fupi, acha kuvaa nguo refu, funika hapa, acha kuvaa wigs. I don't like girls who actually wear makeup, trying to nitpick and change everything and just turn you into a completely different person. If you realize this, and you'll see it very quickly. Why are you wearing such a short dress? Why are you wearing, I don't like you with makeup. I don't like that wig. Maybe you should just do your normal hair. Maybe you should, if they're trying to change you, please ask them to date somebody who they want. Because it's very unfair for you to come and just give me your expectations and try to impose that on me. You met me living my best life. Why are you trying to turn me into a Githomo? Why not just go and date a Githomo? What's that need for you to change me? So that's a huge red flag.
And I think this one, again, we will extrapolate from Risa Tisa, because y'all, let me tell you, she says this man would call her every so often, like every 30 minutes when she's at work. Because she was still working during COVID. Alilala sana akaambiwa na boss, kuja back to office, unadhani utakaa huko nje ukifanya nini? Anyway, so she's at work and he would constantly call her. And then it's like he would listen in. If he would hear like a voice of another man around the background, he would just like, who is that? What are they doing? I knew I couldn't trust you. Why are you always talking to these other guys? Yada, yada, yada. And he went so far as to even fake an ex-boyfriend showing up at her house. He randomly called, Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. He randomly called her. He randomly called her, and he's like, some guy was looking for you. Some guy was outside looking for you. And she's like, what do you mean some guy was outside looking for me? It's like, describe the man to me. Was he wearing a hat? Was he light-skinned? Was he dark-skinned? Was he tall? Was he short? He's like, yeah, it was just like a chocolate guy, like a brown guy. He's like, okay. What was he driving? What was he wearing? He's like, he lied about the car that the guy was supposedly driving. She's like, no, I don't know who that is. I honestly don't even know anyone that would show up at my house looking for me without giving me at least prior notice. And Legion goes ahead and says, I think it's your ex-boyfriend, the one you told me about 2 years ago. And it's just like, ain't no way. That guy, first of all, would never show up at my house. We are no contact. We don't talk at all. So why would he feel the need to just show up at my house and start asking about me? So she goes on and investigates the story later on, because unfortunately the guy didn't know that they had like one of those motion thingies at the door, where if anyone opened the door, any of the doors, it would say, even recording, it wasn't the door, it was just, this one would tell you that door A has been opened for 1 minute. So she's like, 1 minute? You're saying you had an interrogation with this man, you asked him to leave, you even had a little bit of a kerfuffle, and now you're saying that the man disappeared in 2 minutes, in 1 minute. That's a lie. She goes ahead and goes to now the neighbor who had a doorbell camera, which had a clear view of her entrance to the house and all. And she asks, please let me know at such and such a time whether you saw someone actually walking around my house, driving around my house, or coming to my house. Just let me know. And the neighbor is like, yeah, I don't think I saw anyone driving up to your house on that day at that time. So she's like, wow, this man lying. Why you be lying, Legion? Why you? Hey, Legion has made us angry on this internet of Beyonce. What is
the
my
reason?
point? My point is, why are they always interrogating you and asking you, where have you been? What are you doing? Who are you with? How long are you gonna be out? Can I come get you? There's a difference between, babe, where are you? I'm around those areas. Do you want me to pick you up? And where are you? Okay, I'm coming now. Don't leave. Stay there. I am coming. You see the difference? It's just like, why are you acting all controlling and like, red flag.
Another red flag and a means of control is making all the decisions for you.
Ciao.
And sometimes, you know when you're around your partner, when you're your man, you're on autopilot.
Your brain is switched off.
You switch off your brain because you feel safe around them. You feel safe for them to make decisions for you. But when it's coming from a place where you don't feel like you're giving them control voluntarily. It just feels like they're taking all the decisions from you.
Yeah.
We've seen people go as far as controlling the money that is in your bank account. Someone telling you, can you just tell them to be paying you into this account directly so that I can manage the funds?
Trapping you into joint accounts.
Who feels the need to tell you, I will be giving you an allowance, just send me your whole salary, just give me your pay slip. Making such decisions for you doesn't make any sense. The healthy version of it is you on autopilot switching off your brain because you know he's got it. You know you're okay, you're safe, you're secure, nobody will harm you. But if you're always on hyper alert, even your phone rings like this, you're like, oh, you go to office like, what is your password? Give me, I see who is texting you at 3 a.m. or that's a problem. Such kind of control over your life is really not healthy.
Yeah, and another one is embarrassing you or putting you down. And again, we refer to none other than Risa Tisa and her man Legion. Because this man, I mean, Risa was trying to get a new job, right? Because obviously she needed a few things. He was controlling all the finances, he was paying for everything. So she wanted to be able to be at least in a bit more control. So she needed a job with more money. So she went and started looking for a job. And when she actually came and told her husband, babe, I'm actually looking for a new job. Do you know what Legion did? He laughed. He's like, he just laughed in her face. He said nothing else but laughed in her face. And you know, like the way you feel so disheartened when you have this project that you're trying to pull through and your partner is not supporting you. In fact, they're laughing at you. You feel so wishy, like, guy, okay, am I not capable? Do you think I'm not compatible with this company? Like, there's so many things that you can actually go ahead and start imagining if you're not strong enough or bold enough to stand up for yourself. So if someone is trying to put you down, someone is trying to laugh you off and scoff you off, like you can't, you would never, you're too fat for that, you're too skinny for that, you're too stupid for that, you're too something. They're always saying something like that will make you feel besmirched and like a little intimidated and a little afraid. Child, red flag.
And another red flag, and a lot of you practice it, is the silent treatment. Because you all know exactly what the silent treatment does to you. Changamoto, maji kwa tumbo. There's nothing as horrible as you're going about your day, everything is fine in the world, and then you get home and your partner is not talking to you. You say hi, they're like, You try to tell them about your work, they're like, You know, it is so disheartening. It is so painful. It's the most hurtful thing you can do to someone. Just locking them out and offering no reason. You have not said why exactly you're acting this way. You have not communicated that you are hurt in any way. So they don't know what they've done. It is such emotional torture to take somebody through the silent treatment and not tell them what's going on. It makes sense if you tell them, hey, baby, this is what you did. I'm very mad about it. And I don't feel like talking. I need a minute. You know, that is a healthy way of communicating and them allowing you to be in your feelings because your feelings are valid.
Okay.
But just switching up on
Ulalangi vizuri. You know,
mtu hakuongeleshi mnapita hivi like trains. No hi, no nothing. And you know, like as a woman, where your mind goes to, you're like, okay, now I gotta find a new house. Now I gotta figure out how to pay rent. Now I gotta change my kids' school. Now I need to find a better job. Now it takes you to places
survivor mode. Now you're like buckling down to figure out, how am I getting myself out of the situation? Because this man is leaving.
And I'm here to tell you that silent treatment is not normal.
It's not a solution.
It's not a thing in healthy relationships. So if in your relationship, anytime
Vita baridi too.
anytime something happens to them or they think they've something you've done to them and they give you the silent and they don't communicate, you're like, babe, what's wrong? Hey, yo.
The worst, and then they're like, you know what? Let me just, I'll be right back, and then they just go. You don't know where they've gone. They're just gone.
No communication. You know what? We would rather sit down. I hold your hands like this. You tell me what's going on. Even give me like 2 words. Explain something. Because it's such emotional torture and it's a red flag and you should not be in it.
Another one that's very popularly used is, and it's mostly as a form of manipulation, is like whenever someone is trying to manipulate you, they say things like, if you loved me, you wouldn't do that. Or if you loved me, you would do this. Why you making a big deal out of this? I just knew you wouldn't love. I just knew you didn't love me. You've just been pretending. And that's when they're asking you to give them money, to do something that is uncomfortable for you, simply because you love them. Then you would do this thing for them, even when it's outside of your comfort zone and it's breaking a boundary. I've seen people do this even for sex and sexual advances as well. You see a guy will suggest this very ludicrous thing that you're clearly not into, and you're like, Aki, babe, I don't think I can do it. They're like, yeah, I knew you didn't love me, because if you did, we would have tried. You would have at least tried. I'm like, ain't nothing got to do with this. It's just I'm not comfortable. This is a boundary I have, and I do not want to cross it simply because it will make me uncomfortable. It will traumatize me. It doesn't even matter why. I just have this boundary and I'm not going to cross it. So why are you trying to push me by manipulating me into believing that I don't love you and that's why I'm not trying to do this thing? Let me tell you, if somebody is trying to tell you to do something that you're not comfortable with, and then they tell you the line of, I knew you didn't love me, it's not right. That's a red flag. In fact, that's a red banner.
And the biggest red flag is lying. Just lying for no reason. We have established you are an adult. No one will beat you. Trust me. No one will come and cane you and whoop you or pinch you. No one is going to punish you. So just tell the truth. Hey, this has happened, babe. I can't make it to our date. Sorry, something came up at work. I'll make it up to you. That's a sensible person. But you calling me and saying, hey, babe, imagine a trailer has fallen on Sri what? They have blocked all the roads. You're like, why are you lying? You could just, let's reschedule. Let's do something different.
Yeah.
Lying for Legion.
Pathological.
Or
even just like those ones who would lie. What is the other one? Pathological liar versus I'll find it for you. But there's something I wanted to actually add there when Turi said no one will beat you. Okay, no one should beat you. And if they do beat you, you really shouldn't be in that relationship to begin with. Like, why are you being beaten in a relationship? What are you eating? Taekwondo lessons? What's going on? Hey.
And I know it's scary in the process because I actually watched a documentary where it was a domestic abuse survivor.
Yeah.
And she was saying, she always used to say, no one can do that to me.
Yeah.
And when it happened to her in the first time, she froze. Because first of all, she was in shock.
Like, you're not expecting that to happen.
She could not believe that another rational human being could do that to her.
To me?
To me. She was just in shock. And she says if she could have used that emotion and that energy to leave that space, things could have worked out fine.
Possibly.
How dare you do that to me while I'm on my way out, while I'm on my way to report you to hospital. But instead she chose, let me find out why they're doing this to me. And the therapy actually once said, dealing with such kind of people who harm you, is like when a snake bites you, instead of you running away, you run after the snake to ask it,
why are you biting me?
Why have you bitten me? And I'm such a nice girl, So I feel when somebody shows you who they are, don't go around questioning them. Don't go looking for closure. Don't try to hunt them for them to explain to you why they did what they did. Please excuse yourself from the situation, as difficult as it may be.
Yeah, I generally feel like sometimes it's just important for you not to question why it happened to you and just like leave the situation. Because it's like the more you're trying to make sense of it, it's like the more you're roping yourself into this nonsense. The deeper you're digging yourself in this hole, and you're giving someone a chance to lie to you again or do the same thing to you again. Just leave. And it's hard.
It is.
I believe in you. You've got this, baby girl. You've got this, baby boy. I have faith in you. Live, and ask it was leave and something, I forget. Anyway, another one is like taking accountability and just accepting your flaws. Like this one, I'm not gonna lie, for me, I think I am a red flag when it comes to this. I never take responsibility for anything, but in the broader perspective of now where it's like a major red flag, it's like, you know, it's different when you're like, I mbona uliniangusha, and honestly you're the one who jumped on them. Like that's just like a funny thing, you know. However, when an abuser is over there telling you, no, I beat you because you looked through my phone.
That makes no sense.
I refuse to give you money to go and buy food because the last time I gave you money to go and buy food, you went and bought shoes. I took away your phone because the last time you spoke to your mom, she came and called me out for being rude. Or she started trying to intervene in our marriage. I thought the marriage was between just you and I. Like, you see what I mean? I did this thing, this horrible thing to you because you prompted me. It was you who did this for yourself. In fact, I'm not beating you, you're beating yourself. You know, like, I'm not doing this to you, you're doing this to yourself as they're beating your ass. Like, what are we doing? What are you doing? Hey, let me tell you. The moment someone tries and makes anything that they've done, you've seen with your eyes, you've heard with your ears, and you try and listen to them as they're trying to retract that thing and sort of shift blame, not just to you or to anyone else, guess what? They're the problem. It's never you.
Exactly.
Young